You're welcome back. It's 24 minutes to 11. Well, last Saturday, as you know, Joan Burton was hemmed in her car for over 2 hours at a water demonstration in Tala in Dublin. And in the course of the events that happened over the weekend and in the early days of next week, Taoiseach Enda Kenny stood up in Dáil Éireann and he described the behaviour of those protesters to Joan Burton as hounding Joan Burton like a pack of hounds after a fox. And that was the analogy that was used by our Taoiseach in the Dáil chambers, but it has irked the Irish Council against blood sports because they are renewing their appeal for the government to put in place a ban on fox hunting. And I'm joined on the line by Aideen Urell, who is spokesperson for the Irish Council against blood sports. Aideen, was this just not an unfortunate use of words by the Taoiseach?
Well, I think it gives us an insight into what the Taoiseach thinks about fox hunting, because he used it as an analogy to describe the surrounding of Joan Burton in her car. And he described it as dogs surrounding a car, like you would a dog surrounding a fox. And he obviously has a thing about fox hunting. He must think it's absolutely disgraceful, which he described the scene as absolutely disgraceful. And, it is absolutely disgraceful. And I think that Taoiseach is opposed to fox hunting in his own heart. He's opposed to hare coursing because he told us so in 2013. He did tell, 2003, he told us in an email that he was opposed to fox hunting. So obviously the Taoiseach is opposed to blood sports. And why then doesn't his government move to ban these horrific blood sports? They're banned fox hunting is banned in England, Scotland, Wales. Hare coursing is banned in England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, leaving us as the last outpost of this barbarism.
But if the Taoiseach is saying... Aideen, I was just going to say that if the Taoiseach is opposed to coursing, he's obviously told you that, as you mentioned. Have you talked to him about the fox hunting?
Oh, well, it's interesting. It gives us an insight into his thinking on it when he brought it up. He can't think it's a good thing because he used it as an analogy to describe Joan Burton's predicament. I mean, fox hunting is absolutely horrific. Any humane person with a spark of humanity would think that was horrific. Taking out a pack of dogs to hound an animal, to hound it across countryside, to chase it to exhaustion, and when they catch it, they use terms in hunting reports like foxes were chopped by the hounds. It just doesn't bear thinking about. And we've sent you out video footage of what happens to a fox surrounded by a pack of dogs, and it doesn't make for pleasant viewing. Nobody could approve of that, and I'm sure the Taoiseach doesn't approve of it, but he's going to turn a blind eye to it anyway. And interestingly, in the animal welfare legislation that was enacted last year, fox hunting and hare coursing had to be exempted from prosecution, specifically because what happens in fox hunting and hare coursing is undeniably cruel and would breach the provisions of the Animal Welfare Act if it weren't exempted. It had to get a special exemption so that people wouldn't be prosecuted. That proves it's cruel. It proves the government knows it's cruel, but they're not going to do anything about it.
And very briefly,
want to upset the minority.
I was just going to ask you very briefly, what's the agenda, do you think? You're saying they don't want to upset who? A
minority who engage in this appalling, disgusting behaviour. And I wouldn't mind, but there's a humane alternative to hare coursing, mechanical lure coursing. And they just won't, the government won't recognise that drag coursing can be done. They don't want to upset. Of course, there's no votes in this for them. They feel there's no votes.
Okay.
They're on the animals.
All right, Aideen, there we leave it. Thank you very much for joining us today. That's Aideen Urell there, spokesperson for the Irish Council against blood sports in the context of Enda Kenny's remarks in the Dáil relating to blood sports and the way Joan Burton was treated. 1850 506000 is our number. Send us your calls and comments.